Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moten.
And I'm Janae Norman. Here are the top 5 things this Thursday. Number 1, the tensions with Iran.
President Trump says Iran appears to be standing down after the missile strike that targeted U.S. forces. The president has announced new sanctions on Iran, but says the U.S. is ready to embrace peace.
But in the meantime, lawmakers in Washington are demanding a better explanation for the U.S. drone strike that killed an Iranian general. The House is expected to vote today on whether to limit Trump's ability to take military action. On to number 2, the mystery over what happened to that Boeing 737 that crashed in Iran, killing everyone on board.
Iranian investigators say the crew was trying to turn back to the airport when the plane crashed Wednesday, and they say the crew never made a radio call for help.
Iran has disputed claims that the plane was shot down.
Number 3, a major development in the impeachment showdown.
Senator Lindsey Graham says the Senate trial will begin next week, even though House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hasn't turned over the articles of impeachment yet. Pelosi is demanding Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell reveal what the trial would look like.
But Graham appeared on Fox News last night and said the trial will happen soon because even some Democrats now want to move forward. Number 4, a surprise announcement from singer Justin Bieber is bringing attention to a debilitating disease. Bieber says he's been diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Lyme is transmitted by deer ticks. It can be treated with antibiotics if caught early.
But if not, it can cause joint, heart, and neurological problems. The CDC reports about 300,000 Lyme infections each year.
And finally, number 5, the U.S. Mint is going batty with its latest design.
A new quarter coming out next month will feature Samoan fruit bats. The goal is to promote awareness about the threatened species living in American Samoa. Oh, where are you going?
Good morning. Let's get right to that big story. The U.S. and Iran pulling back from the brink of war, at least for now.
President Trump says Iran is standing down, and he's now talking about diplomacy after Iran carried out that missile attack on American troops in Iraq without any casualties.
But now lawmakers in Washington are demanding more information after being briefed on the deadly U.S. drone strike that escalated tensions. And some of the sharpest criticism is coming from a member of President Trump's own party.
Let's bring in ABC's Serena Marshall as the latest from Washington. Serena, good morning.
Kenneth, Janae, good morning to both of you. Despite that strike, the president believes Iran is standing down. Instead, he wants to push for peace talks and tougher sanctions. But Congress still moving to limit his war powers when it comes to Iran.
The before and after of Iran's ballistic missile strikes targeting U.S. troops in Iraq. Newly released satellite images revealing the scale of damage from the 17 missiles launched at the 2 bases just 1 day ago, causing chaos. Each missile carrying a 1,000-pound warhead.
They were intended to cause structural damage, destroy vehicles and equipment and aircraft, and to kill personnel.
Even as Iran claimed victory and troop deaths on state TV, there were no casualties for U.S. or coalition forces. The president saying that's evidence Iran was standing down, and instead of retaliation, talking tougher sanctions.
The fact that we have this great military, we do not want to use it. American strength, both military and economic, is the best deterrent.
And in a change of tune, urging the continuation of the existing Iran nuclear deal he pulled the U.S. out of to pursue negotiations over a new one.
We must all work together toward making a deal with Iran.
On Capitol Hill, his national security team briefing members of Congress, but Democrats leaving unconvinced.
It is a far cry from meeting a standard of imminent threat.
And 2 conservative Republican senators, Rand Paul and Mike Lee, agreed, saying they'll join Democrats and vote to limit the president's war powers.
What I found so distressing about that briefing was that one of the messages we received from the briefers was do not debate, do not discuss the issue of the appropriateness of further military intervention against Iran. And that if you do, you'll be emboldening Iran. I find this insulting and demeaning, not personally, but to the office that each of the 100 senators in this building happens to hold.
That Senate vote not expected until sometime next week, but later today, the House is expected to take their vote, making sure the president knows if he wants to take any further action on Iran, he'll need Congress to sign off. Kenneth, Janae.
All right, Serena Marshall there in Washington. Thanks for joining us. And another major security concern has been the threat of cyber attacks by Iran. One new report claims cyber attacks have nearly tripled since the U.S. drone strike that killed an Iranian general. Federal, state, and local government sites have been the most common targets. Authorities in Texas are the latest to reveal that they were targeted.
The U.S. Army wants to let you know that you are not being drafted.
Officials were forced to issue the statement in response to fake text messages telling people they had to register to fight in Iran. The draft has not been in effect since 1973. The Army has emphasized operations are continuing as normal.
Now to the other big story out of Iran this morning, the new clues in that mystery over what happened to a Boeing 737 that crashed near Tehran, killing everyone on board. Iran has disputed claims that the plane was shot down and now says the crew was trying to turn back to the airport when the plane crashed. This morning, new questions about what caused this Boeing 737 to crash in Iran, less than 4 hours after the country launched a barrage of missiles at American targets. The Ukrainian passenger jet carrying 176 people disappeared from radar minutes after taking off from Tehran.
The data stop like that, you have to say it's something catastrophic.
The debris field massive, with body bags lining the street. Experts say only 3 things could cause such a catastrophic crash: mechanical failure, a bomb, or a shoot down. A theory getting attention because of the military activities in the region. Some point to what appear to be shrapnel holes in this image of the wreckage, similar to what was found on Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, which was shot down over Ukraine in 2014. The Iranians deny they shot down the jetliner Wednesday and say they have recovered the black boxes, but will not provide those boxes to U.S. authorities or to Boeing. In a statement, Ukrainian Airlines says the pilots were trained specifically to fly in and out of Tehran, and given the crew's experience, error probability is minimal. We do not even consider such a chance.
Right now, we don't have enough data to go one way or the other. Is a shoot down possible? Yes. Can I come up with mechanical failures that are possible? Yes. And right now, we just don't have the data.
Iranian investigators say the crew never made a radio call for help. While U.S. officials may not get the black boxes, it's possible the Ukrainians will share the data.
In other news, thousands of people in Puerto Rico are sleeping outside again overnight after this week's powerful earthquakes. New video shows this moment when a magnitude 6.4 earthquake struck the southern coast early Tuesday morning. It was the second big quake in as many days, and many buildings collapsed. 3 major power plants were damaged and are still offline. About 1 million customers remain without electricity.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg says she is cancer-free. The 86-year-old tells CNN her treatment for a malignant pancreatic tumor has been a success. Last year marked Ginsburg's 4th cancer treatment and her 2nd in 2 years. The High Court is set to resume next week.
And that good news from Justice Ginsburg comes amid a new report showing the nation's cancer rate is dropping. The American Cancer Society figures show the largest ever one-year drop in cancer deaths. The rate fell just over 2% between 2016 and 2017. Fewer smokers, plus new lung cancer and melanoma treatments are listed as major factors.
And a high school student is being credited with discovering a new planet during his internship at NASA.
Give that man a job. The senior from Scarsdale, New York, was analyzing variations in the brightness of stars when he discovered the planet orbiting 2 stars about 1,300 light years away. NASA says the planet is 7 times bigger than Earth.
Mom says, well, how was the first day of your internship? And he goes, well, they named a planet after me.
Not bad.
Coming up, the new development involving Britain's rock star royals, Harry and Meghan, blindsiding even Buckingham Palace with their stunning announcement.
But first, the teen speaking out about his ordeal lost in the mountains of Utah. What he says kept him alive after this.
Welcome back. We're looking at time-lapse video from Center City, Philadelphia. As a snow squall blew through, it quickly dumped a dusting of snow and then moved on. Several cities across the Northeast experienced these squalls, which can be dangerous because they can blind drivers. And snow is still falling, mostly in Pennsylvania and New York State throughout the morning.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is asking lawmakers to approve $1.4 billion to tackle the state's homelessness crisis. Most of that money will go toward paying rents and funding affordable longer-term housing. The governor also wants to make changes in the state's Medicaid program to allow increased spending on preventative health care.
Also in California, San Diego has become the latest school district to sue the e-cigarette maker Juul. The lawsuit claims student vaping has disrupted learning in the classroom. The district cites e-cigarette related absences and the cost of programs to teach kids about the risk of vaping. Juul says it's focused on preventing underage use of its devices.
The estranged husband of a mother from Connecticut missing since last spring is behind bars this morning, charged with her murder, but he is expected to be released on house arrest later today. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
Fotis Dulos and his 2 alleged conspirators making their first appearance in court, charged in what police believe is the murder of Dulos' estranged wife, Jennifer.
Do you understand all the different terms of the protective order, sir? Will you obey it? I will.
Dulos hit with that murder charge 8 months after his wife disappeared. Police saying when Jennifer dropped off her children at school in late May, Fotis Dulos was lying in wait when she returned home. An arrest warrant alleging he used zip ties to secure and incapacitate his wife, whose blood police say was found in multiple locations in the home.
There does not appear to be a crime scene weapon. There doesn't appear to be any admissions or statements against penal interest. There's no body. What we have is a suspicious disappearance and an entirely circumstantial case.
Also appearing, Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, charged with conspiracy to commit murder.
She had no benefit from the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos.
The couple was already charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution months ago. Police claiming security footage appears to show the couple disposing of Jennifer's blood-stained clothing.
I don't think it's a strong case against Mr. Meghan.
The third suspect, Dulos' former attorney Kent Mulwiney, also charged with conspiracy to commit murder. State police suggesting he dug a grave to bury Jennifer Dulos. The prosecution saying he evaded arrest before being tracked down near the Massachusetts border.
All three suspects are due back in court next month. Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis are expected to post bond and be released later today. Janae, Kenneth.
Our thanks to Trevor there. A 5-year-old boy is in the hospital after he was attacked by a coyote in an upscale Chicago neighborhood. The coyote took off running in Lincoln Park and is still on the loose. Paramedics say the boy suffered several cuts on his face and head. Earlier in the day, a coyote was caught on camera running around in the city's Old Town neighborhood. Police say it's extremely rare for coyotes to approach or bite people, but they're warning residents to be alert.
One more skier is reported missing after an avalanche Tuesday at a ski resort in Idaho. The Silver Mountain Resort was closed Wednesday as rescue workers searched, and they'll try again after the sun comes up. 2 other skiers died in Tuesday's avalanche, but 5 were rescued from the heavy, wet snow. One of them says he was able to carve out an air hole only to have it buried by a second avalanche. He then lost consciousness until he was found and dug out. He says he'll be eternally grateful to the rescuers who did not give up.
A California teenager is speaking out about his 30-hour ordeal lost in the snowy mountains of Utah.
Nico Stacy Alcantara was on what was supposed to be a day-long hike outside Salt Lake City. High winds and snow turned it into a fight for his life. The 17-year-old made a snow cave for protection, and he says writing letters to loved ones helped keep him alive.
I pray you guys find, happiness after I'm gone. Just that, I love you guys. You guys never did anything wrong. Don't blame this on yourself. This was a dumb mistake in the first place.
Nico is recovering from frostbite. He was in Utah visiting an ex-girlfriend. He says a bracelet she gave him during their relationship helped remind him of everyone who cares about him.
Now to the surprise announcement. Britain's Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan have revealed they are stepping back from their royal roles.
Not even 2 years into their marriage, what has so far been a bumpy ride for the young couple is now entering uncharted waters. Here's ABC's James Longman.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex announcing a stunning decision that they'd be stepping away from their royal duties and living part-time overseas.
This is Harry and Meghan drawing a line and saying this is how we want to do it. They're very much testing the waters.
The couple posting a message to their Instagram saying, in part, we intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty the Queen. We now plan to balance our time between the United Kingdom and North America.
They are basically saying they're going to become part-time royals, that they're going to be trying to work towards making their own money. That always traditionally has been very difficult for members of the royal family to do.
The decision reportedly blindsiding Buckingham Palace, the Queen issuing her own response, saying discussions with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are at an early stage. We understand their desire to take a different approach, but these are complicated issues and will take time to work through.
For the members of the royal family, none of them knew that this was going on. They knew that they wanted change. They had no idea they were going to announce it in this way.
Just a few months into their relationship, British tabloids descended on them with racially charged headlines and commentary, like this one from the Daily Mail that read, Harry's girl is almost straight out of Compton. Prince Harry defended Meghan in an unprecedented royal statement, calling out the racial undertones of comment pieces and the outright sexism and racism of social media trolls.
It's a shame that that is the climate in this world, to focus that much on that, or that would be discriminatory in that sense. But I think, at the end of the day, I'm really just proud of who I am and where I come from, and we have never put any focus on that. We've just focused on who we are as a couple.
And that endless press scrutiny would not relent. This year, they're even set to take some British tabloids to court. Their website, sussexroyal.com, launched today, laying out new parameters for press coverage of the couple's engagements, saying they're breaking with the pool of royal correspondents that traditionally cover royal events, criticising their coverage for presenting false impressions. Harry's late mother Diana knew the problems of a life in the royal spotlight. In a television interview with Panorama in 1995, she described the suffocating nature of being a royal.
The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people.
But it's his mother's lesson on love that seems prescient all these years later.
If you find someone you love in life, you must hang on to it and look after it. And you were very lucky to find if you were lucky enough to find someone who loved you, then one must protect it.
While she may have done things differently in life, she remained a working member of the royal family. What her son and young family are proposing is unprecedented in modern royal history.
There are a lot of questions that now need to be answered. Where will Harry and Meghan live? How will they make money? What will they do? What about security? Are the British taxpayers going to be paying for their security while they're making money doing business?
They'll launch their Sussex Royal Foundation, continue to promote their existing patronages and charities, and possibly earn an income, all this while still supporting the Queen. What will that look like? For the moment, perhaps only Meghan and Harry really know. For Nightline, I'm James Longman in London.
You know, leave the royals alone. I mean, those royals. You can mess with all the others. Those royals are ours, Harry and Meghan.
Let them
They're
live
coming to North
their
America.
best
They're going to be
lives.
here.
They'll be okay.
They really will be. All right, let's check our notifications now. Starting with celebrities weighing in with their reactions to the royals' announcement. Comedian Amy Schumer shared this image on Instagram of her and her husband saying, "Chris and I are formally stepping down from our royal duties. We appreciate your support."
Reporter Chris Witherspoon tweeted, "Dear senior producers of The Crown, can we skip ahead a few decades and focus on Meghan and Harry for season 4?
To which filmmaker Ms. Ava DuVernay responded, "If they need a director, I volunteer as tribute."
Here for it. And that's our question of the day. How do you feel, if you have feels, about Harry and Meghan stepping away from royal duties?
Do you think that they are, quote, spoiled brats, as the trolls say?
As Americans, how did we get so swept up? I always say this, but there was like a whole war to like distance ourselves.
I know, but now the time has healed
all wounds.
Yes, and so are you in that person who thinks that, or are you a person who thinks, oh no, you do you, Harry and Meghan, or are you the person who's like, I don't care?
2 or 3, but let us know. Comments or tweet the show.
ABC News Live.
Next, Pope Francis had another close encounter, but this one ended with a smile.
You may remember New Year's Eve, the pontiff turned some heads when he slapped the hand of a woman who grabbed him at the Vatican. The Pope later apologized for that Pope slap. Yesterday, he showed he isn't against all contact. A nun asked to kiss the Pope on the cheek while he greeted visitors in Vatican City. The pontiff said, "Sure, but don't bite me."
Frisky. Next, 2 gamers have accomplished a big feat. They beat the classic Nintendo game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, with just 1 controller between the 2 of them, and they were both blindfolded.
It took some studying for them before they attempted this, but they had 40 minutes to do it. They did it in 23 minutes, so not bad. Knockout!
And then they just bit everyone's ear, and that's how they won.
Mike Tyson joke. The Pope said, "Don't bite me."
I know. And Trae Young is among the NBA's leaders in assists this season.
Now he's giving an assist off the court for hundreds of people in Atlanta. The Hawks guard paying off more than $1 million in medical debt for 570 city residents. The Oklahoma native says Atlanta has welcomed him with open arms, and he's happy to give back to the community.
That's a big deal. Hats off to Trae Young.
Yeah, definitely. We know that medical debt really impacts so many families in this country, so good for him.
And the Battle Royale for Jeopardy, the greatest of all time, was supposed to be a best-of-3-night event.
But last night, all that changed. Here's Will Gantz.
Answer the other Daily Double. I got to do it, and I can do it with a clear conscience. 8,400, Alex.
But can you do it?
Is James copyrighted this?
Yeah,
Am I allowed to?
One time use only, you're good.
He now owns 10% of whatever you
Night number 2 of Jeopardy's greatest of all time tournament, and everyone is all in.
It works.
Some funny moments for sure, but make no mistake, Jeopardy James wasn't joking around when it came to evening the score with night number 1 champ, Ken.
I hate fun.
You hate fun? Come on now.
Who wants to play a fun, low-stakes game?
James' strategy, maintain control of the game and switch between categories to find those daily doubles. Bringing the heat during the game and on Twitter. Photo of 2 Jeopardy goats that outscored Brad Rutter in the second half. Poking fun at Brad, who wound up in third during both games again.
You finished in the red, which means you couldn't participate in Final Jeopardy.
But the competition between Jeopardy James and Jeopardy Jennings, more dramatic than ever.
What is I'm walking here?
Yeah, you got it.
Much better than I would have done.
I think I broke my buzzer.
But which champ took the match?
Answer their daily double.
13,600, please.
All right.
Mr. All-In, Jeopardy James Holzhauer, who even had time to critique Ken's doodles in Final Jeopardy.
Pointing the wrong way.
You get nothing extra for the artwork.
The tournament continues tonight and could end as early as Friday if Ken or James sweeps the rest of the week, but it could also last until January 16th if all 3 players win 2 matches apiece. When we say who we're rooting for, you guys already know who.
Go to the tease. Bring
Here
up the
comes
tease. Bring up
Jeopardy
the
James.
tease. Coming
Here
up, a
comes
big
Jeopardy
vote on
James.
Capitol Hill today in the aftermath of Iran's retaliation.
Plus, see which classic TV shows are getting a reboot after this. Here's what to watch out for today. President Trump is scheduled to announce proposed National Environmental Policy Act regulations before heading to a campaign rally tonight in Toledo, Ohio.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the House is set to vote on a resolution that would limit President Trump's war powers against Iran, ending any military hostilities within 30 days unless Congress gives the okay. The author of the resolution, Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, says it is intended to make clear that if the president wants to take us to war, he must get authorization from Congress.
And finally from us, on this Thursday morning, the big news from the woman behind one of the most iconic shows of the 90s.
Oh, Mrs. Sheffield! Why didn't you say anything?
Oh, I didn't notice.
You didn't, I'm beginning to wonder about you, too. I can't get it on. I'm stuck. Help me.
Relax, Miss Fine. We'll get it on.
Now, 21 years after The Nanny went off the air, the show's creator and star Fran Drescher is developing The Nanny for Broadway.
The cast has not yet been decided, but Drescher will not be reprising her role. Sad face. The show hasn't yet announced a production schedule, but loved that show.
You know what? She had style. She had flair. She was there.
I think that's how she became
The Nanny.
The Nanny isn't the only fan favorite making a comeback. ABC has announced that it's bringing back some iconic shows of its own.
First up, Leslie Jones will host a reboot of Supermarket Sweep, the hit game show that debuted on the network back in the 60s. Jones will begin filming 10 episodes this spring.
And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire will celebrate its 20th anniversary this year with a reboot of its own. Jimmy Kimmel will host the show with celebrity contestants playing for charity, while viewers at home can play along on an app.
And
Millionaire will premiere April 8th.
And the 80s staple 30-something is also coming back to ABC. Rather than a reboot, though, this will be a sequel series which will focus on the original characters' children who are now themselves in their 30s.
30-something.
Millennial much?
That's it from us.
That's it?
Friday.
That's all?
That's it.
Friday. Can't wait.
Bye.
See ya.